The quantum sensors aboard the International Space Station, New Horizon, weren't supposed to detect anything unusual that day. Dr. Sarah Chen was running routine maintenance checks when the first anomaly appeared, a distortion in spacetime that shouldn't exist according to known physics. Within hours, the entire world would learn that humanity was not alone in the universe. The massive vessel that emerged from the distortion dwarfed anything humans had ever constructed. Its sleek, crystalline surface reflected sunlight in ways that defied conventional optics. As it took up position in high Earth orbit, smaller craft descended through the atmosphere, heading straight for the United Nations headquarters in New York. Admiral James Harrison stood at parade rest beside the UN Secretary General, watching as the alien delegation entered the General Assembly Hall. The beings called themselves the Vaisari, representatives of the Galactic Confederation, an alliance of 17 spacefaring civilizations. Their ambassador, a tall, ethereal creature named Zareth, spoke perfect English through what appeared to be some form of universal translator. "We come in peace," Zareth announced, its translucent skin shifting through various shades of blue. "Your species has achieved a significant milestone by developing quantum detection technology. You are now ready to join the greater galactic community." The offer seemed too good to be true. The Confederation promised to share technology, open trade routes, and help humanity advance beyond the solar system. For 6 months, Earth's governments worked closely with their new alien allies. The Vaisari taught humans about faster-than-light travel, advanced medicine, and clean energy production. But Admiral Harrison couldn't shake his suspicions. The Confederation's generosity came with increasingly restrictive conditions. Earth was required to limit its military development, share all technological innovations, and accept Confederation oversight of its space exploration programs. When Harrison voiced his concerns to the Joint Chiefs, he was dismissed as paranoid. Then came the Titan incident. A human research vessel, conducting authorized studies of Saturn's largest moon, detected unusual energy signatures beneath the surface. Before they could investigate further, a Confederation ship appeared and demanded immediate withdrawal. When the research vessel's captain requested clarification, citing approved mission parameters, the alien ship opened fire without warning. The destruction of the research vessel and its crew of 43 marked a turning point. The Confederation's true intentions became clear as Zareth delivered an ultimatum to the UN Security Council. Earth would submit to direct Confederation control or face immediate military action. "You misunderstand your position," Zareth stated coldly, its skin now a deep purple. "Your species is young, undisciplined, and potentially dangerous. We cannot allow you to develop independently. The choice is simple: accept our guidance or face extinction." In the chaos that followed, Admiral Harrison was summoned to a secure facility beneath the Rocky Mountains. There, he learned that certain individuals within Earth's governments had never fully trusted the Confederation. A secret initiative, Project Prometheus, had been analyzing alien technology and developing countermeasures since first contact. Dr. Chen, who had first detected the Vaisari arrival, led the briefing. "They think we're primitive because we've shown them exactly what they expected to see," she explained, bringing up holographic displays of classified research. "While they've been teaching us basic principles, we've been reverse engineering their technology and improving upon it." Harrison studied the technical specifications with growing amazement. Quantum-enhanced battle systems, gravity manipulation weapons, and defense platforms that could be assembled in hours instead of months, all developed in secret, while Earth played the role of an eager, submissive student. "The Confederation believes they're dealing with a simple, unified planetary government," Harrison observed. "They don't understand human diversity, our capacity for parallel development, or our history of preparing for worst-case scenarios." "Exactly," Chen agreed. "They're about to learn that humanity's greatest strength isn't our technology. It's our ability to adapt, to deceive when necessary, and to fight back when pushed too far." As the Confederation's deadline for submission approached, Earth's surface appeared to be in disarray. Nations argued publicly about whether to accept the ultimatum. Military forces made obvious, clumsy preparations for defense. The Vaisari watched with satisfaction as their psychological warfare appeared to fracture human unity. But deep beneath the oceans, hidden in mountain bunkers, and concealed in orbital debris fields, humanity's real response was taking shape. The Confederation had made a critical error in judgment. They assumed that because humans were young to the stars, they were also naive. They failed to realize that thousands of years of human conflict had taught our species to always prepare for betrayal, to never reveal all of our capabilities, and to understand that true strength often lies in being underestimated. Admiral Harrison stood in the command center of humanity's first true space warfare facility, watching as reports came in from around the globe. Everything was in position. The Confederation had given Earth an ultimatum, never imagining that they might receive one in return. "Send the message," Harrison ordered, his voice steady with conviction. The words that would change the galaxy forever were simple. To the Galactic Confederation. Humanity rejects your ultimatum. You have 6 hours to withdraw all forces from the Sol system. This is not a negotiation. The first shots of the coming war wouldn't be fired for another 12 hours, but the real victory had already been achieved. The Confederation, believing they were dealing with primitive upstarts, had no idea that they had just started a fight with an enemy that had spent its entire history preparing for this moment. Humanity was ready not just to fight, but to win. The Confederation's response to humanity's ultimatum came swiftly. Their massive warships dropped out of hyperspace in waves, taking positions around Earth's major population centers. The display of force was meant to terrify. Instead, it played directly into humanity's hands. General Maya Rodriguez watched the alien fleet's deployment from her command post, deep within the Atacama Desert facility. The supposedly primitive bunker was, in reality, a quantum computing hub that coordinated Earth's hidden defense network. As hostile ships moved into position, advanced sensors mapped every detail of their capabilities. They're following standard Confederation doctrine, Lieutenant Colonel Weizong reported, his fingers dancing across holographic displays. Exactly as the intelligence intercepts suggested, they position their heaviest warships high in orbit, expecting to rain down destruction while staying safely out of range. Rodriguez allowed herself a small smile. For 6 months, human quantum computers had been analyzing every scrap of data about Confederation military tactics. The aliens were methodical, relying on overwhelming force and centuries of unchanged strategy. They had never needed to adapt, until now. Deep beneath the Pacific Ocean, Dr. Emily Sullivan monitored the status of Project Hydra. What appeared to be simple underwater research stations were actually massive manufacturing facilities. Using engineered bacteria and quantum-guided assembly, they could produce advanced weaponry at rates that would have seemed impossible just a year ago. Fabrication is at 98%, Sullivan reported via quantum-encrypted channels. All systems are showing green. We can begin deployment on your command. Similar reports streamed in from hidden facilities around the globe. The Amazon rainforest concealed laboratories where scientists had reverse-engineered and improved upon Confederation shield technology. The Siberian permafrost hid energy weapon platforms that made the aliens' advanced armaments look primitive in comparison. But humanity's greatest advantage lay in what the Confederation couldn't see. During the months of supposed cooperation, Earth's quantum physicists had made a breakthrough. They discovered that the aliens' faster-than-light technology was inefficient, limited by their own preconceptions. Humans, approaching the problem with fresh perspectives, had developed something entirely new. Admiral Victor Okonjo stood on the bridge of the Trinity, humanity's first true warship. Hidden within an asteroid in the Kuiper Belt, the vessel represented everything humanity had learned and developed in secret. Its hull was composed of metamaterials that absorbed or redirected scanning beams. Its weapons systems combined human innovation with reversed engineered alien tech. Most importantly, It carried the prototype of humanity's new FTL drive. The Confederation expects us to either surrender or launch a suicidal assault. Okonjo addressed his crew. They believe we have no choice but to use conventional rockets and nuclear weapons. That assumption is their weakness. In orbit, the Confederation fleet continued its show of force. Zar-Ith, now promoted to fleet commander, transmitted another message to Earth's governments. Your defiance is futile. We can see no evidence of significant military capability. Surrender now, and we will be merciful. The response came not from Earth's political leaders, but from thousands of quantum-encrypted channels simultaneously. Across the globe, hidden facilities activated. What appeared to be civilian satellites revealed themselves as weapon platforms. Seemingly innocent cargo ships transformed into mobile launch facilities. The ocean floor lit up with energy signatures as humanity's true military infrastructure came online. On the Trinity's bridge, Admiral Okonjo received the green light from General Rodriguez. All units report ready, his tactical officer announced. Project Hydra is fully operational. Ground-based defenses are armed and tracking targets. Send the final message, Okonjo ordered. Around the world, every screen capable of receiving transmissions displayed the same image, a simple countdown timer. No threats, no boasts, no final warnings. The Confederation forces watched in confusion as the numbers ticked down. Zar-Ith was in the middle of ordering a preliminary bombardment when the timer reached 0. In that instant, humanity revealed what 6 months of preparation and millennia of warfare experience could accomplish when properly motivated. The ocean surface rippled as thousands of platforms emerged, their quantum shields already engaging. From the Amazon to the Sahara, weapon systems that had been masked as natural formations powered up. And in the Kuiper Belt, the Trinity's new drive system activated, allowing it to appear instantly among the Confederation fleet. What followed was unlike anything the aliens had experienced in their thousands of years of space warfare. Human forces struck from impossible angles, using technologies that shouldn't have existed. When Confederation ships fired on Earth's cities, their weapons were caught and redirected by defense systems that had been hiding in plain sight. The Trinity demonstrated the true extent of human innovation as it danced between enemy vessels, its advanced drive system making it appear to be in multiple places simultaneously. Admiral Okonjo's voice echoed through every Confederation command channel. You assumed that because we were young, we were primitive. You never considered that youth might be an advantage. We haven't had time to become set in our ways, to stop innovating, to believe we know everything. That was your mistake. As the battle unfolded, the Confederation forces found themselves facing an impossible situation. Every strategy they attempted was countered before it could be implemented. Every advantage they thought they held was turned against them. The species they had dismissed as primitive upstarts was systematically dismantling their military doctrine. In her command center, General Rodriguez watched the tactical displays with grim satisfaction. Send word to all commands, she ordered. Phase 2 begins now. The real demonstration of humanity's capabilities was about to begin, and the Confederation was about to learn why underestimating Earth had been the greatest mistake in their history. Operation Thunderstrike began not with a massive frontal assault, but with silence. Every human quantum defense system, weapon platform, and warship simultaneously activated their stealth protocols. To the Confederation sensors, it appeared as if humanity's brief show of resistance had suddenly vanished. Fleet Commander Zar-Ith's skin shifted to a puzzled green as reports flooded in. Impossible, it muttered, watching as energy signatures winked out across Earth's surface. No species can mask their emissions so completely. Begin planetary bombardment while we have a clear target profile. That order sealed the Confederation's fate. As their weapons powered up, the Trinity emerged from its quantum fold directly in the heart of their formation. Admiral Okonjo's voice cut through their command channels. You still don't understand what you're facing. Allow us to demonstrate. Dr. Sullivan's voice crackled through the Trinity's quantum comm. Hydra platforms are in position. Activating quantum entanglement web now. What happened next defied the laws of physics as the Confederation understood them. A network of quantum entangled particles, seeded throughout the solar system during the months of preparation, suddenly activated. The fabric of space itself seemed to twist as thousands of human vessels emerged simultaneously from what appeared to be nowhere. Lieutenant Sarah Chen, daughter of the scientist who had first detected the Confederation's arrival, commanded one of these vessels. The CSS Hyperion represented the perfect fusion of human ingenuity and reversed-engineered alien technology. Its quantum drive allowed it to ignore traditional laws of motion, while its weapons systems operated on principles the Confederation had never imagined. All Hyperion-class vessels, execute Pattern Omega, Chen ordered. Her fleet moved in perfect synchronization, their quantum-linked systems allowing for coordination at speeds that made traditional command and control look primitive. The Confederation fleet found itself caught in a three-dimensional web of firepower. When they tried to return fire, their weapons passed harmlessly through apparent human ships, only to discover they were firing at quantum-generated duplicates. The real vessels struck from completely different vectors, their advanced targeting systems finding weaknesses in Confederation shields that shouldn't have existed. General Rodriguez watched from her command center as Phase 2 unfolded. Activate the gravity wells, she ordered. Across the solar system, hidden platforms came to life, creating localized distortions in spacetime. Confederation ships found themselves unable to retreat, their FTL drives refusing to function within these carefully crafted gravitational traps. On the Trinity's bridge, Admiral Okanjo received updated battlefield analytics. The enemy is attempting to regroup at coordinates Delta 7, his tactical officer reported. Their command and control structure is showing signs of disintegration. As expected, Okanjo nodded. They'd never faced an opponent who could match their technology, let alone exceed it. Execute containment protocols. The human fleet moved with practiced precision, herding the increasingly disorganized Confederation forces into predetermined killing zones. What appeared to be tactical retreats by Earth's ships were actually carefully choreographed maneuvers, drawing the aliens into positions where overlapping fields of fire awaited them. Zar-Ith watched in horror as its mighty fleet was systematically dismantled. "This is impossible," it broadcast on all frequencies. "You are a primitive species. Your technology was basic. We monitored your development." "You monitored what we wanted you to see," Rodriguez's voice replied calmly. "While you watched our public space program launch chemical rockets, we were testing quantum drives in secret facilities. While you evaluated our primitive shield technology, we were perfecting defenses that make yours obsolete. You never wondered why a species capable of detecting your arrival would have such apparently limited capabilities." The Hyperion demonstrated the full extent of humanity's advancement as it phase-shifted through a Confederation Dreadnought shields, its weapons ignoring defensive systems that had protected alien ships for centuries. Sarah Chen's voice was cold as she transmitted to the enemy vessel. "Your mistake was assuming that showing us a small portion of advanced technology would make us grateful and subservient. Instead, it showed us what was possible, and we improved upon it." In orbit around Mars, Project Hydra's true purpose was revealed. What the Confederation had dismissed as primitive orbital platforms suddenly linked together, forming a massive energy collection array. The quantum web connecting these platforms began to glow with power that exceeded anything the aliens had ever witnessed. Final warning to all Confederation forces, Admiral Okanjo broadcast. "Your fleet is contained. Your technology has been countered. You have one opportunity to surrender." On his command ship, Zar-Ith watched as tactical displays showed the true extent of humanity's deployment. Hidden bases on every planet and major moon in the solar system, quantum weapons platforms that could strike from anywhere, an integrated defense network that had been built right under their noses while they congratulated themselves on fooling the primitive humans. In the Atacama Command Center, General Rodriguez allowed herself a small smile as the first surrender signals began broadcasting from Confederation vessels. The aliens had come expecting to find an easy target, a young species that could be dominated through superior technology and military might. Instead, they had awakened something far more dangerous, a humanity that had spent its entire history preparing for threats exactly like them. As Operation Thunderstrike concluded, Admiral Okonjo transmitted one final message to the defeated Confederation forces. Remember this day. Remember what happened when you thought you could subjugate humanity. And remember that what you've seen is only a fraction of what we're capable of when challenged. The battle for Earth was over. The war for humanity's place in the galaxy was just beginning. The Grand Council chamber of the Confederation had never been so silent. Representatives from 17 spacefaring civilizations sat in stunned disbelief as they watched the battle recordings from Earth. The defeat of their premier fleet wasn't just unexpected. It was unprecedented in over 2,000 years of Confederation history. Supreme Counselor Vexnar, a being of living crystal, spoke first. How did we not see this coming? Our intelligence networks are the most sophisticated in known space. Dr. Emily Sullivan stood before the Council, now serving as Earth's first ambassador to the Confederation. The irony of her position wasn't lost on anyone. The same scientist who had helped develop the weapons that crushed their fleet was now here to negotiate peace. You saw exactly what you expected to see, Sullivan explained, her voice carrying clearly through the vast chamber. You expected a young species to be overawed by your technology, grateful for your guidance, and easily controlled. That expectation blinded you to what we really are. The holographic displays showed detailed analyses of human military innovations, quantum entanglement drives that made traditional FTL travel obsolete, adaptive shield systems that learned and evolved during combat, weapons that operated on principles the Confederation's scientists were still struggling to understand. But these advances are impossible, protested Representative Krall of the technocratic worlds. No species could develop such technologies in mere months. Sullivan activated another hologram, this one showing Earth's history. Images of human warfare through the ages, each conflict driving innovation, each crisis spurring advancement. We didn't develop these technologies in months, she corrected. We've spent our entire history preparing for existential threats. When you showed us what was possible with your technology, we simply adapted our existing research to new parameters. In orbit above Earth, Admiral Okonjo was conducting a different kind of demonstration. The captured Confederation officers watched in silence as human ships performed maneuvers their own vessels couldn't match. The Trinity moved through space in ways that defied their understanding of physics, while squadrons of smaller craft demonstrated formation patterns that seemed to ignore the laws of motion. Your tactical doctrine hasn't changed in centuries, Okonjo explained to his captive audience. You rely on overwhelming force and technological superiority. But humanity's greatest strength isn't our technology. It's our ability to innovate, to adapt, to find new solutions to old problems. Back in the Council chamber, the political implications of Earth's victory were becoming clear. Smaller member species began questioning the Confederation's leadership. If they had been so wrong about humanity, what else had they misunderstood? Lieutenant Sarah Chen, now promoted to captain, presented the Council with evidence of something even more disturbing to their worldview. While you were monitoring our official channels, we were studying you, she revealed. Every piece of technology you showed us, every glimpse of your capabilities, was analyzed and improved upon. But more importantly, we were learning about your societies, your psychology, your limitations. The holographic displays shifted to show detailed assessments of Confederation species' behavioral patterns, cultural blind spots, and technological dependencies. The aliens were faced with the uncomfortable realization that humanity hadn't just defeated their military, they had fundamentally understood them in ways they had never understood humanity. General Rodriguez, coordinating from Earth, authorized the release of additional intelligence. The Confederation representatives watched as their own classified military protocols were dissected and countered. Every strategic advantage they thought they possessed had been anticipated and nullified. "We know you're wondering if this was all an elaborate trap," Rodriguez transmitted to the Council. "If we somehow knew you were coming and prepared specifically for you. The truth is both simpler and more concerning for your future relations with humanity. This is just how we think. We prepare for the worst while hoping for the best. We imagine threats and develop countermeasures before those threats materialize." In the debris field that had once been the Confederation's pride, the Trinity conducted recovery operations. Admiral Okonjo supervised his human teams to study the remains of alien vessels, not to copy their technology, but to understand their thinking. "Each piece of wreckage tells a story," he explained to his staff. "Not just about their technology, but about their assumptions, their confidence, their inability to conceive of defeat. These are lessons we must never forget." The Confederation's military leadership was in chaos. Their entire strategic doctrine had been built around the assumption that technological superiority guaranteed victory. Now they faced a species that had not only matched their technology, but had fundamentally reimagined how it could be used. Dr. Sullivan concluded her presentation to the Council with a statement that would be remembered for generations. "Humanity doesn't want war. We never did. But we will never again allow any power to threaten our existence. You tried to subjugate us because you thought we were weak. In doing so, you forced us to demonstrate just how strong we really are." As the Council debated their response, reports came in from across Confederation space. Other young species were beginning to question the old order. The myth of Confederation invincibility had been shattered, and the galaxy was changing. In their attempt to prevent humanity from becoming a threat, they had catalyzed exactly the transformation they had feared most. The human factor had been introduced to galactic politics, and nothing would ever be the same. 1 year after humanity's decisive victory, the galaxy had changed in ways no one could have predicted. The Great Hall of the newly established Galactic Assembly on Mars buzzed with activity as representatives from both Confederation worlds and emerging spacefaring species gathered for a historic summit. Admiral Okonjo, now Earth's chief of interstellar defense, stood at the observation deck watching ships from 24 civilizations maneuver in precise patterns around the orbital dockyards. Among them, the Trinity flew alongside vessels of former adversaries, conducting joint training exercises that would have been unthinkable months ago. "Remarkable how quickly things change," Dr. Sullivan observed, joining him at the window. No longer just a scientist or ambassador, she now headed the Interspecies Technology Exchange Program. "A year ago, they wanted to subjugate us. Now they're asking us to teach them." The aftermath of the failed invasion had triggered a cascade of changes throughout known space. The Confederation, its military and political dominance shattered, had dissolved into a loose alliance of independent worlds. In its place, a new organization was emerging, one founded on principles of mutual respect and collaborative advancement. General Rodriguez entered the observation deck, her uniform bearing the new insignia of the Joint Species Defense Force. "The Arcturian delegation just arrived," she reported. "They're eager to begin discussions about implementing quantum defense networks in their sector." Below them, in the main assembly hall, Captain Chen was delivering a presentation on human innovation methodology to an audience of alien military strategists and scientists. The concept of continuous advancement, of never accepting current limitations as final, had sparked a renaissance of research and development across the galaxy. "The greatest weapon humanity possessed wasn't our technology," Chen explained to the gathered delegates. "It was our understanding that there is always room for improvement, always a better way to do things. We never stopped questioning, never stopped innovating, even when we thought we were alone in the universe." The holographic displays showed the rapid advancement of human-inspired technologies across former Confederation space. Worlds that had stagnated for centuries were now experiencing unprecedented growth and development. The integration of human adaptability with alien experience was producing breakthroughs that benefited all species. Former Fleet Commander Zareth, now serving as a liaison between Earth and its former enemies, approached the human leaders. Its skin shifted through thoughtful shades of blue as it spoke. "We thought we were coming to teach you," it admitted. "Instead, you taught us the greatest lesson of all, that true strength lies not in maintaining power, but in being willing to change." The assembly chamber filled as delegates took their seats for the day's main event, the ratification of the Galactic Concordat. This new framework for interstellar relations wasn't based on military might or technological superiority, but on principles that humanity had long understood: mutual defense, shared advancement, and respect for diversity. Admiral Okonjo took the podium, surveying the gathered representatives of a transformed galaxy. "1 year ago, we faced each other as enemies across the battlefield. Today, we gather as partners in the greatest adventure any of our species has ever undertaken: the joint exploration and development of our galaxy." The Concordat introduced concepts that the old Confederation had never considered: knowledge-sharing protocols that protected innovation while encouraging collaboration, defense agreements that emphasized protection rather than dominance, trade policies that benefited emerging worlds as much as established powers. Dr. Sullivan's team had played a crucial role in designing these new protocols. "We learned from Earth's own history," she explained to a group of alien scientists. "The most successful human civilizations were those that encouraged diversity of thought and approach. We're applying those same principles on a galactic scale." In orbit, the Trinity led a formation of ships from 15 different species in a display of unity. Each vessel incorporated elements of human quantum technology alongside their own unique innovations, a physical demonstration of how cooperation had replaced conflict. Captain Chen, watching from the command center, smiled as she received reports from deep space exploration teams. Human adaptability combined with alien experience was pushing the boundaries of known space faster than either could have achieved alone. "We're charting systems that the Confederation deemed impossible to reach," she noted. "Turns out nothing is impossible when you stop telling yourself it is." The Assembly's final vote was unanimous. As the Concordat was ratified, cheers and celebrations erupted in a dozen different languages and forms. Species that had once looked down on humanity as primitive now stood as equals, partners in a new age of galactic civilization. General Rodriguez raised a glass in the traditional human gesture of celebration, a custom that had surprisingly caught on among many alien species. "To the future," she toasted, "not as conquerors or conquered, but as fellow explorers of the infinite." As the celebrations continued, Admiral Okonjo received a priority message from Earth's deep space monitoring stations. Unknown energy signatures, unlike anything seen before, had been detected at the edge of charted space. A year ago, such news would have triggered fear and military preparations. Now, it sparked excitement and curiosity. "Assemble a joint contact team," he ordered, a smile playing at his lips. "Let's show the next new civilization we meet a better way to say hello." The galaxy had learned its lesson about underestimating humanity. But more importantly, humanity had shown that its greatest strength wasn't in winning wars. It was in transforming enemies into allies, turning conflict into cooperation, and always pushing the boundaries of what was possible. As the first ships of the Joint Exploration Fleet prepared to depart, carrying representatives of a dozen different species toward the unknown, the truth became clear. The future belonged not to those who clung to power, but to those who dared to imagine something better. The age of isolation and fear was over. The real adventure was just beginning.